Halloween.
Forever.
Guys, I got one for you. It's a good one.
Ooh,
And you didn't see right below the screen we're seeing me. I had little quotes around good. Guys, what did the cannibal killer eat exclusively when he was on a budget?
I don't know, Brian.
What?
Ramen. I thought you were going to get that one, Steve. Come on, get it together. Welcome, boys and girls, to a very special little mini-sode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
I'm Steve.
Hey.
The two-time champ.
He is. He's not going to let us forget it, guys.
Deservedly so.
We're back at it. We're back at this son of a bitch again. And we got our old friend Bigfoot Ben.
I had to come back.
Us.
I had to. I deserve this. So yeah.
We figure if you're going to be part of the Showdown episode, you got to be part of the punishment episode. Although
fair.
I will say that Steve was a right and just champ. He was a kind champ this time around.
I was a nice boy.
You got Steve on his best behavior. Normally, Steve's making us watch people like flick little pieces of corn and shit off of their lips and stuff like that. Like we literally had to watch on the last one. So
from this point forward, if a movie doesn't have dick docking, face sitting, and coming stump penises, I'm not interested. I don't care.
Why would you?
I don't want to see it.
Just give me the goods.
Oh man,
give me the goods. This movie I knew nothing about. Steve threw it out our way. No spoilers here. You clicked on the dang old episode, guys. We are talking about the Troma modern classic, guys, from 2021, Slashening: The Final Beginning, which is a great title. The sequel to the Slashening from 2015, I think. Yeah, I saw it. I actually started. I never seen the Slashening either, but I did start to watch it this afternoon as I was eating my ramen, which gave me that inspiration for that lovely joke. This afternoon, taking a little break from work, eating some lunch, and started watching it. Obviously, didn't get through it, but. Boy, howdy, did I just genuinely enjoy this.
That was so much fun.
It's
so
just
much fun.
Dumb, fun movie from our friends over at Troma. So we'll get into that some bitch here in a second, get a little bit of insight from Steve on what inspired him to choose this one. Just like I said, kind of out of left field, not Steve's style normally. His punishment is normal. I think actually last time, when he won the first of these two back-to-back Showdown episodes, I think it was, fuck you guys, I'm about to fuck your life up. I think it was something along the lines, and this was just a complete left turn in the right direction, if you will.
Such a beautiful direction. It was like a little love note he left for us.
Yeah.
Just little smoochies. He put a little lipstick on, put a little smooch, sprayed a little perfume on the note. But before we do all of that, guys, we got a couple other things that we got to do. First of all, we got some beers? We're actually we recorded the Showdown episode on a beautiful Sunday morning, and here we are, middle of the week in the evening. So I'm sure we got some beers. What do we got?
Definitely have beers. Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Ben. What do you got?
I don't know if you've heard about this. Have you seen this?
Have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
A whole box of logs.
Oh my God.
That's actually what I'm drinking as well. So we picked the same. Well, but see if we're picking the same beer. I actually have two of the beers out of that pack right now.
Yeah.
What do you got?
What am I drinking? The Pilsner. It's fantastic.
Pilsner. Ooh, love me that Pikeland Pils.
Yep. And if I can put down, what did I drink? I think I drank 3 beers over the course of our 9 a.m. Sunday morning recording.
Yeah.
I can do some damage to this to this pack right here.
Well, they're all sub 5%. One of them's even sub 4, except for when you get to that Maibach. That's the one that's going to catch you in the butt.
Surprise.
That's the one that I have here beside me. That's my second one right now. Ben and I are drinking from the same pack here. Hashtag EMP guys, Sly Fox, Box of Logs, a lager centric variety pack. That was just my baby. I very proud of that creation.
As you should be.
And Bohemian Gold is what I'm drinking right now, which is Pikeland Pils is just a beer that I fucking love and drink almost every single day. But boy, howdy, that Bohemian Gold, like I said, it's almost a full percentage point lower. And wow, I could just drink an absolute 1,000 of those. We have it on side pull font at the brewery in Pottstown, and going out there this week. We got our Bachfest and Goat Race, and
it's coming up. I'm
gonna drink a damn 1,000 of them, just a damn 1,000 of them. But I'm gonna drink the Maibach next, so I'm warming up.
For those of you who've listening, the goat race is already over.
Yeah, it's already over, and even if it's not, it's sold out, so you can't come anyway.
Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
it's not for you. Never mind.
You can't come. You can't come, no matter how much you want to. Actually, that's not true. People, this happened last year because last year was the first time we ticketed it. You know, we actually sold tickets as opposed to just like letting it be a crazy free for all with 8,000 people, and it sold out last year as well. We upped the tickets significantly this year. It sold out again, which is great. But inevitably, there will be some aftermarket people trying to scalp tickets like the day of and trying to gouge people on them and shit, which is lame. But yeah, so like I said, you can't come anyway. It's sold out. So too bad
for you.
You snooze, you lose, you bitch.
I wish I was going. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I'm going to have to recover for a month afterwards. Steve, what are you drinking over there?
I'm not drinking Sly Fox.
Oh, lame.
Because, it's an episode right after I win. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do a little celebrating. And so it's time for Soju Steve.
It's Soju Steve. Oh, see, he was being nice, but now he's going to turn into old Johnny Strode, start drinking soju and calling us bastards and slapping us across the face. What is that? Was that plum that I saw on the label there? What is that?
No, this is the Soon Hari Apple Mango.
Apple Mango. Ooh, that sounds good. That's an interesting combination. Apple mango.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had anything apple mango flavored.
It tastes like soju and cider. So, yeah.
Oh,
it's enjoyable.
You know what we should probably do? We should probably have a conversation, Steve, about how we need to make a soju beer. I'm going to do a little note to myself here. Apple mango soju beer, soju sour.
I'm just happy I was here for the idea. I'm honored.
Figure that out. All right, guys. Inspirations just popping off over here. That's what Troma does to us.
Hell yeah.
Do we have anything else we got to take care of? We're going to do a little spinny wheel situation.
We got to spin the wheel.
Let's spin that son of a bitchin' wheel. And let me get I grabbed a pencil, my only writing utensil near me, and then I launched it across the room somehow. So let me see if I can grab another writing utensil while you spin that wheel so we can jot down what this is going to be. And I'll explain real quick while Steve brings up that old spinny ass wheel. So as we talked about, Steve won back-to-back Showdown episodes. What the fuck is a Showdown episode? Well, on the first Monday of every month, for those of you who are new, first of all, pause. Fuck you. Fuck you. Where you been? We've been doing this for almost 2 years. You've been sleeping on it? How dare you?
They were probably waiting on TikTok. Is probably what they were doing.
They were waiting to get that inspiration from the talks and the ticks. Keep waiting. But yeah, so what happens is every Monday, every first Monday of the month, we do a Showdown episode. The week before it, or several weeks before it, actually, we have a big old spinning wheel with a whole bunch of topics that were suggested from our social media friends and listeners. Some of them we put on there. We spin that wheel 3 times. We get 3 different topics. Then we put those out on the social medias in the form of a little quizzy or a little you pick situation on the Instagrams and the Twitter. You pick of those 3 which one you want to hear us talk about. Once we land on one, we each pick a film associated with that topic. Maybe it's a subgenre. Maybe it's something like last time when we did Before They Were Stars kind of situation. Anyway, we land on a topic. We each pick a movie. And then during that first Monday of the month, we do a little showdown where we argue about it and all that types of shit. We vote. Someone gets DDT'd. Someone catches a diamond cutter onto some rocks or something like that, onto the smooth cement floor of the back room. We're breaking tables and plates over each other's head. And then eventually somebody takes home that son of a bitchin' championship strap for the month. Steve's taken home twice in a row now. I propose that we bring his reign of terror to an end. Let's see if we can do that. Tell us, Steve, what is the first option for what your ultimate demise will potentially contain?
And this one could actually get me.
Yeah.
It's found footage.
Yes.
I love a found footage. Steve,
Me too.
Steve, not a found footage guy.
Oh, love found footage.
This one could get me.
Yeah, I love me a found footage. I know a lot of found footage movies, but I'm going to be real tempted to pick a real shitty one because I like shitty found footage movies. And as we've established on this podcast, I'm my own worst enemy. So we will see what happens with that. Found footage, first off. I like that. Okay. We've done quite a few found footage movies already that have fallen into other topics or just, as they come out or whatever. So, all right. Yeah. What's next?
So this one, I'm not quite clear on. Maybe you know it if you added it. It's Neo Monster Flicks.
Neo Monster Flicks.
So I think we're talking about something that's like in the vein of like a kaiju, but also more like the 1950s, 1970s, but they're done today. Is that what we're talking about?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe like just modern. Yeah. That was not my topic. I wonder where that one came from. Yeah. Neo Monster Flicks.
Yeah. So okay. I'm thinking like probably a good example in my mind, at least, is there was that new film from Thailand that just came out called The Lake.
Okay.
And it's like, it's not a city-sized kaiju, but it's more of like a big monster. It's done practically. And it's like, I think it's because I haven't watched the whole thing, but I think it's
so it's like a modern monster that maybe takes some cues from classic monsters, but are not we'd have to establish what the time frame to establish. We have to establish what the time frame is.
The host is probably a better.
The host is the first thing that came to mind for me, and that's a unique monster. I know it's obviously it's a sea monster of sorts. It's not that radically different than everything else, but it's not like a mummy movie, right? Or a dang old werewolf or a Dracula. It ain't one of them.
Yeah, I think maybe if this one gets picked, we maybe put a cutoff date of like maybe it has to be after 1990.
Okay,
because I'm thinking of like all the kaiju movies and all the like the early sci-fi, thing from another planet, that kind of shit. Yeah, like keep all that out. So it has to be because it says Neo. So it's like Neo, like new. Yeah. New.
Yeah. I immediately, for whatever reason, now this is a little bit older, but I immediately thought of a Pumpkinhead. You know what I mean? That's like a little bit of a different monster that doesn't have its roots in either folklore or, Atomic Age or anything like that.
I started thinking of like Deep Rising, The Relic, Mimic. All of those.
Oh yeah, The Relic. That's a great one as well. Yeah. That's a great one. Okay, Neo Monster Flicks. I like that. That sounds like a fun topic. All right, what's number 3?
Okay, wheels going. It's a going. And number 3.
I'm really sad there's not an actual wheel. I always envisioned in my mind as you guys.
Well, there is. There is an actual wheel.
I'll show it to you right now. Oh, just so you feel like you've never been cheated or anything.
Just for like a true fan experience.
Yeah. This is number 3.
There it is.
It's number 3.
Oh my God, yes.
Redneck Shenanigans. That is a treat because the best thing about Redneck Shenanigans is we've already done a bunch of the most famous ones. We've done our Texas Chainsaw Massacres. I think we even did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, didn't we? Maybe not.
No, we did the brand new one as like a minisode.
Oh, that sucked. But I think we just talked about no, because didn't I pick Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Because didn't we talk about the Maybe not. Maybe I'm
no.
imagining
We've definitely
this.
talked about 2 at different times because we like 2, and it's so different from 1. But no, we haven't done it.
Okay. All right. So redneck shenanigans. That'll be a fun one. We could go
like Wrong Turn.
Yeah, or maybe if the hills were to have eyes, that would be a good topic. Hypothetically, that would be an example. All right. I like that. Okay, so just to recap the potential topics for holy shit, our showdown episode we are going to be talking about for fucking June. Holy shit. It doesn't even sound right. It's pretty much Halloween, guys, by that time. By the time you get June, it's pretty much Halloween. We have the options of found footage, neo monster flicks, and redneck shenanigans. Ooh, those are all three bangers for you in June. So if you want to vote, keep your eyes out on the social medias and the old stories on the Instagrams or on the Twitters. We'll put that out there for a vote for you in the coming days, and then you can select or you can contribute to selecting what that is going to be. If you got topics to suggest for us that you want to put on that big old spinny wheel that Ben just saw, send us our way in the DMs, on the Twitters, on the Instagrams. DM us a potential topic. We're always adding to the wheel as you suggest topics for us, or even if you have a Minisode topic, you got some new movie coming out that you heard of, you got something out, whatever, send it our way. Very well might become a Minisode that very week, you guys. All right. We got the beers, we got the wheels out of the ways. So Steve, talk to us about this quote unquote punishment movie you handed us.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was going to be nice this time, partially because, Ben was on as a guest, and I don't try to be mean to the guests, but also because it's 2 wins in a row, and that's always been my pattern. I always do nice on the second time. This is the way to ingratiate myself to everybody.
Yeah.
This is how they know.
It's called smart gaslighting.
Yes.
That is what that is.
Yes. It's definitely some form of abusive codependency. In which
it's called gaslighting.
Yeah, I need people to...
Guys, I'm nice. Why do you always think about the mean things I do? I do nice things too.
Right.
That's my Steve impression.
Yeah. Let me keep winning and I'll keep doing nice things. And you'll never have to
make me lose, then you get mean, so do Steve.
Then bad things happen to you. Poop things happen to you.
I know, it's always bodily functions. Although this
there was some body, there was some butt stuff in here too.
You got some stuff happening in this one, but it's all comical. It's not.
Right.
It's not.
No, all good fun.
Yeah.
So, like I said at the end of the last episode, I had to think about it for a second, and what I knew I wanted to do a Troma movie because I don't think we've done a Troma movie yet. And
no, we talk about it a lot, and I think we've even talked about doing. We always end up talking about Sergeant Kabuki Man for whatever reason, but I don't think we never really talked at any Troma movies.
Yeah, and I love our fans, but unfortunately, none of them vote in mass enough to ever pick Full Moon Features or Troma films when they come up on the wheel.
No, they always get shot down. They always run into another just monster topic or just get outvoted in general. Yeah.
So, I decided we're finally going to do a Troma movie, but this one it's not a full Troma movie because it's not directed by Lloyd Kaufman. It's distributed by Troma, and Lloyd does appear in the movie. So there's, you get
I think he gets a producer credit too.
He's a producer on the film.
Yeah.
So, as you already mentioned, this is a sequel. It was originally promoted as Slashening 2, but I think because the first Slashening wasn't put out by Troma, I don't think it was distributed. I think it was distributed independently.
Okay.
And then this one, they got a little bit of Troma money, I think, to produce and then distribute. So, that's why this one, I think it lost the 2 because it's still on the IMDb poster of Slashening 2.
Okay.
But it's Slashening the Final Beginning. You don't need to really see the first one. There is a lore connection between the two of them. But you don't have to see the first one.
I didn't realize there was a first one until after I finished this one.
And it started to play next
on the first one, and then it started to play next on Tubi.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then I went back today and started watching a little bit of it, but I probably only watched the first like 15 minutes, although one of the first scenes, and one of my favorite things about this movie is the music, the made up joke music. And the first movie I got into, and they were doing like kind of a Taylor Swift parody-ish type of thing in the first one, and it was pretty fucking funny. But that's about as far as I got before I had to apparently do work. That's the thing.
Boo.
Yeah.
Both movies, though, they were written and directed by Brandon Bassham. It may be Bassham, but I'm going to say Bassham because that's cooler.
Yeah, I'm sure if it is Bassham, he wishes it was Bassham.
Right.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't correct people who say Bassham.
No.
Yeah.
That's a fucking sick wrestler name.
Right? Yeah, the Bassham Bros.
Yeah.
So, yeah, generally, you're not going to find a lot of people that you recognize in the film, in the cast. It's mostly New York people and a lot of people from the UCB, the Upright Citizens Brigade. It's from their improv school, which is why generally this movie is so funny. Because it is
very funny. You can tell everyone involved are actual comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're comedians, whether they be actors, improv, or stand up. They have some sort of comedic chops. And then you can also tell the main scene where a lot of the things occur in the group session. Mm-hmm. Like, because everything's black, I'm going to guess 100% that's the UCB theater.
Probably. Like, and a lot of those scenes actually do like play like it is a little sketch or monologue. I mean, the movie in a way almost just feels like a collection of sketches a little bit.
Yeah, it really does. And then, so Brandon Bassham got his start at UCB. He's also listed as a director for a lot of the credits for the UCB shorts. So anything that you saw on their YouTube page or anything, he may or may not have directed, but more than likely did.
Yeah.
Yep. So the Slashening, the final beginning, it starts in a house. And I feel like this film reminded me a lot of Carousel.
It did. It really gave me Carousel vibes. Yeah. And I almost was expecting Premium Steve to show up. Right. and coincidentally, my copy of Shingles the movie showed up today in the old mailman brought it. So I was like, wait. Felt like Steve was going to pop up at some point. Yeah,
definitely does. But it starts at a house party, much similar to the way, Carousel has its house party. And it begins with a character like telling the story of, this is the house of the Long Island Slashening. And it's a very comedic scene overall, but it basically he tells the ghost story, and then like everybody's freaked out, and then they start making fun of the one girl who's the most freaked out, and like starts listing off all the terrible things that could happen to them. Of like,
they're like she's locked up. What do you think? She's gonna get out and come here and then seek revenge on the people who are in the house? Like all these like basically tropes, horror tropes that seem extremely likely to happen.
Yeah. Ooh, do you think the ghosts of the victims are gonna come haunt you and terrorize you? But everybody is breaking off after the ghost tale, and the one character, Zed, he goes to the basement for beers.
Someone needs a beer.
Gets him a nice 6-pack of Narragansett.
It's a Gansett.
I noticed that.
You know what? I one thing I'll say I'm disappointed of a little bit is to see a Gansett show up, and then I didn't get any Quint. I didn't hear any Quint references. I mean, that's 100% the only reason that beer still exists.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that and Orioles games.
Yeah. It's like it's not a good beer. It's like a very cheap, it's a mediocre fine, it's fine. But, the only time I'm ever getting a Gansett is because I want to pretend that I'm Quint. Yeah. That is really the only reason.
From Jaws? Is that what we're talking about?
From Jaws.
From Jaws, yes. Yeah. That is the beer Quint consumes in Jaws.
I had no idea. That's why that thing is so popular.
Also, I just made the mistake and said it was because of Orioles games, but no, that's National Bohemian.
Oh, that's Natty Boh. Yeah. But Gansett is more.
That's Connecticut. That's New England.
Yeah, I was going to say you see that basically Jersey Shore and up kind of thing.
Yeah, we get some out this way, but yeah it's all right. Yeah, their lemonade thing is fucking terrible.
Yeah, isn't it like it's like Dell's something or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's fucking terrible. It's the lemonade version of the Iron City iced tea.
The Turner's tea thing.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. It's just tastes really sweet and really not real at all.
Yeah, and like shitty malt liquor. Yeah, but Zed gets some Gansett and then he gets his head cut off. So that's what he gets because hiding in the shadows is Sackface.
Yeah, the old burlap sack.
I was not expecting Sackface. It looked like a Mr. Potato Head was like melted down.
Yeah,
that threw me for a loop.
It was a cross between Sackhead Jason, the guy from the town that dreaded sundown, and one of those ghosts from like the 80s and 90s that like are just like a plastic ball with a little bit of like a little bit of sheet over it that just go like ooh, like the way it's just
back and forth
over his head. Yeah,
it's so loosely applied to his head. It also just kind of looks like a shitty scarecrow from Batman.
Yeah.
True. That's true too. Yeah. It's got that same texture.
Yeah, but it, like you said, Brian, it's a reference to all of those old, just like simple killers when they just wore a bag over their head.
Old Sackhead Jason and the like.
Yeah. So basically the next couple minutes is just him going through and killing everybody in the house. But like they're done in comedic sketches. Ben already brought one up of like the dick docking between the gay couple.
Yeah, that was a great one. And even before that, the consent scene, like,
consent scene. Yeah.
So this is a Troma movie, and like anybody who understands the sensibilities of Troma, they, in their long and storied history as an, independent, producer of horror movies, their whole thing is they want to be transgressive, and whatever is the norm, whatever is the social norm, whatever is the thing that would be more socially acceptable, they're going to go after the complete opposite of that. So there's a lot of send ups in this to like people who are it's a lot of like the worst type of people in modern society. And
hyperboles of themselves.
Yes. So it's like very caricatures of people who are trying to be like ultra PC, or like a lot of take ups of like social media culture, or like people who pretend to be like allies for LGBTQ or people of color or whatever, but then they're like ultimately just kind of in it for themselves or whatever. And in this instance, it's like these two insufferable douchebags that are so self-satisfied with themselves for just going over the top to ensure that both of them have consented to a nauseating degree before having sex.
Yeah. And this is kind of the first time you kind of get the sense that there's a lot of improv actors in this, because as the joke goes on, they stop and do the entire alphabet backwards as like a drunk test. But that's like that's a very like an improv exercise of like, we're going to do this at the same time at the exact same speed and get it right.
You could tell those two have performed on stage together many times.
Right. Yeah.
They were really good.
Yeah.
They were very funny though. The alphabet thing, it doesn't sound that funny, but it is. I lulled several times during the scene.
So yeah, they get killed,
and then he stabs them both in the back of the neck, and then makes them kiss blood into each other's mouth. It's
so silly. It's just on top of like a lot of the social satire, it's also just Looney Tunes gimmicks. Like,
it's straight up just gags.
Yeah, it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But yeah,
the docking scene, we're 5 minutes in and there's two guys in the basement and they're like getting beers, and then they're just like, the one guy is really horny that they're in a murder house, and he's like, all right, like get your dick out. And the other guy's like, all right, fine. So they just start like, and then he's like, ooh, you're uncircumcised. And he's like, yeah, is that okay? He's like, oh yeah, that's fucking great.
Is that okay?
Can I stick my dick in your foreskin kind of thing? Yeah. And then the other guy's like kind of weirded out, but he's kind of into it. But It's
Yeah, like the other guy just desperately just wants to get fucked regularly, and like the other guy is like trying to bring about all the weirdest things of like, let's
he's
talk.
like the D-gen, like the oversexed D-gen, and the other guy's just trying to get laid kind of thing.
Yeah, he's just like,
let's talk, don't blink, look in my eyes.
Right.
That was the thing. He's like, don't blink or I'll
come
go
and
soft.
see you blink.
Yeah, that was like, oh, don't blink or I'll go soft. And the guy's like, okay.
yeah. And then Sackface shows up in the basement and shoots them in their tied dicks with a nail gun. And I was so upset that they didn't give you like the payoff shot of just like
I know
a nail between two prosthetics or something.
Great.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. We get mangled dicks later. Just show us two dicks nailed together.
That's all we want.
It
I'm
could have even been
asking,
the
guys.
same dick because it rips apart.
Right.
It could have been you had two dicks ripping apart, and then second dick done.
I don't ask for a lot.
But I do ask for a re-edit. I asked for a George Lucas special edition where they do that. But
the other guy in this like sequence that really cracks me up is I think he's the guy who told the story at the beginning.
he is, yeah.
And he's just like an absolute douchebag. I don't remember what his name is.
I think it's Greg.
Yeah, but he's trying to talk to he's trying to be this pretentious guy, like talking about wine.
Yeah.
And
he was in France. He knows wine.
Well, that was the line I really liked. The whole thing is like, okay, you get it. Like he's funny and everything, but the line is, I've been to Paris. You can't fool me.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's a good line.
You guys come out. Come on. I've been to Paris. You can't fool me. Yeah.
And you see him like messing with the wine bottle in the background. He's flipping it upside down, trying to like shake out the cork or something.
Yeah, you can tell he like broke off the cork or fucked it up somehow.
And then the other one was, come on, guys, we got to drink this wine before it expires.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just like a fucking pretentious asshole. Doesn't know, anything, but yeah, it's good. Yeah. Good character.
This movie was so fun.
Yeah, but he goes through kind of the classic Halloween haunted house scene of he's ripping sheets off bodies, and then he rips a sheet off just like a coat rack, and he goes, "Oh, okay." And then sees the bodies next to it. You're like, "Oh."
That's the thing with like Troma movie, and this like even if this isn't like a full on Troma like written, it has very Troma sensibilities. I would say it's a little bit more.
I think it's more restrained.
Yeah, a little bit, but it is like it's restrained in that it's not as much like physical gags. It's a lot of just jokes on jokes on jokes, like more dialogue driven jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's more restrained in like you're saying. It's like it's not physical gags. There's not like a lot of blood geysers going off like you'd see in like Toxic Avenger and shit. So
yeah, that's what I mean by physical. It's not a bunch of like crazy gore effects and stuff like that. I mean,
there's
you get a little bit of it, but yeah,
like the bong. That's a Troma one.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like your cold open, and it ends with a match gag, and then.
That was funny too.
We cut to Madison, who's going to be our protagonist, and we go to a kind of a self-help. And this ties to Renfield because it's
like a support group.
Yeah, it's a support group for people who have had bad, terrible things happen to them, and so the character in this, Pat, who is burned and has one eye, he was in the original Slashening as well, so. That's one of the ties to the first film, and then we go through a lot of stories of like what happened to people, and like it kind of sets them up.
Awesome stories,
they're
great
amazing.
stories.
So some of them are like, the one guy's just like, "Oh, my son died."
Yeah,
and then the other guy's like,
"Did he?
Are you sure your son died?" Like his whole thing is like. Perception's reality, bro. Like he's the stoner guy, so he's doing like. But I was cackling at the delivery boy thing, which becomes a big part of the movie. But
yeah, and that's part of the first film as well. Like Madison's story is that her father owned a pizza shop, and his pizza shop was the one that was sending the pizza boys to the original Long Island Slashening. And this also kind of reminds you of Carousel because of, Joe, the pizza guy. But all the pizza guys that showed up at this house in the original, they all get killed. And so it apparently drives her father into a depression, and then that depression causes him multiple suicide attempts.
And she keeps walking. So first of all, I had not seen the first one, and I think it made the joke hit harder because she's explaining it, and I didn't even know there was a first movie. Right. So I'm thinking this is all made up backstory, which makes it even funnier. And his name's like Papa Staganelli or something. So he's like this pizza magnate, type of guy or whatever. But like her just standing up there and earnestly explaining that he sent a pizza boy and he got murdered. So he sent another pizza boy and another and another. And it's just like this, it's a Looney Tunes bit, but I didn't realize that actually happened in the first movie.
So like Papa Staganelli is not in the first movie. It's just the pizza boys are getting killed. So they
just showing up.
Yeah. So
they keep coming.
Yeah. There's a lot of pizza boys that show up and get killed, but they don't have this other backstory. This was created for the film, so I think that's still why that's why it's so effective. But just a quick note on this. I was doing research just to see if I recognized anybody, or like where else I could see them. And I went on to the actor who plays Papa Staganelli. His name's Rob Weber, and in his credits he has Glenn Danzig in a UCB comedy short.
Oh, he played Glenn Danzig. Yeah. Oh my God. If you know what this guy looks like, if you watch this movie, that's very funny to imagine this guy. He just looks like, I would say like Midwestern older dad. Yeah. Like that's just what he looks like. And the joke is that he sucks at, it's like obviously a dark joke, but it's really, he sucks at killing himself.
Right. He shot himself through the cheek.
His daughter keeps walking in on his just botched suicide attempts, and she's like traumatized by it. But then over time, she's getting like more annoyed almost by it. So like she walks in and like he fucks up. She's like, and that really made him hit rock bottom.
Well, like she's annoyed by the time he takes all of her like birth control as a way to overdose.
UTI pills.
Yeah.
UTI pills. Yeah.
Yeah. She's just annoyed by that.
And then ultimately he tries to hang himself, but all that does is just get him into autoerotic asphyxiation, which gives him a new reason to live, like a new lease on life.
He's totally happy finally. And then he actually kills himself by accident. That was great. It really was.
I just wanted to back up for a second, because even though all that, I think the funnier one for me was Viv and Bex.
The girls.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Just because you could tell that was a full yes and with how it keeps getting worse. I don't understand. Yeah. It keeps getting worse as it goes on. And
they're like the spoiled rich white girls that are like,
they're just spoiled rich white girls, and like they're doing the annoying voice, and they're like, we don't even deserve to be here. We got into an accident because we're going down on each other, but that was Trent's idea, and Trent is in a coma now, but he should be in these meetings. It's just like, what the fuck?
Like no one knows who Trent is. You know what I mean? They're just like referencing somebody we don't know, and they apparently are like, we did. What did she say? Something like, I'm trying to remember. She's like, we got charged with vehicular homicide, which is like stupid because it sounds like we killed a car.
But we didn't. It was an old man crossing a road.
That's right.
I just love that whole sequence of how it keeps getting worse and worse as they play off each other.
Yeah, and then they're pissed at the one girl's dad for not getting them off the hook.
Oh yeah, your dad is a lawyer. Sucks.
Yeah, that's good.
From here though, kind of the film, like you mentioned earlier, Brian, it breaks down into just like a series of skits, and it's just the people of the support group inviting Madison to go somewhere. Madison goes somewhere, then that person dies.
Yeah, and like a whole bunch of weird dumb shit happens, and then that person dies.
Yeah. And then Madison is evidently flung back to her apartment to sit in the tub because that's where she feels safe.
Yeah,
complained to her roommate.
I love that. We'll talk about this, but I love that they shoot these tub scenes, or it's in just an insanely small bathroom. Like
Ugh.
it's, you know, it's literally like it's almost like a powder room size bathroom, and there's always like 3 to 4 people in the room.
And
like,
it's grimy, and it's like soap. It's like brown everywhere.
Yeah. I mean,
you can tell it's just somebody's apartment bathroom.
Yeah. This is how you know it's a true New York bathroom and not some bullshit like in the Midnight Meat Train where there's plenty of room to get cameras and everything.
No, they are literally all squeezed into this tiny ass like 4 foot by 6 foot bathroom.
Right.
And they're in there, and this is where she feels safe.
Yeah.
And she's talking with, I guess, her other
That's
roommate.
that's her other roommate. And
then the third roommate comes in, and she just wants to fucking shower. And every time she's like, God damn it, I just need a shower. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Couch.
But then they get mad and they're like,
pay for it.
and then they get mad and they're like, fuck you. This is where I feel safe.
You got to watch it because the joke's not going to translate, obviously. But I love the one of the guys who's in the group invites Madison to come see his shitty band. And then there's just a whole scene of basically just talking about how lame people in bands are.
Yeah.
But specifically like this like kind of Americana style, like it's a Mumford and Sons ripoff.
It's the Lumineers because they're just doing Hey over and over again.
Yeah.
They call themselves a folk rap rock Zydeco experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good bit. Like I said, I'm not going to explain the gags, but yeah, the one song is just them just going like, hey.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then there's a uke breakout.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, that was Link, and then Link gets his head bashed in with a uke.
No, Link's the stoner.
Is Link the stoner?
Yeah, because I wrote down the line when he goes to the support group and he's always trying to get everyone to do DMT with him. So he like the one guy's the douchey guy who thinks he's like a musician, but he's just, you know, an uncreative fucking dork. And then Link is the stoner guy who thinks that he, you know, has transcended reality kind of thing because he does DMT and mushrooms and stuff all the time. But the joke was he's sitting there just word vomiting out all of his nonsense to the murderer and isn't even observant enough to realize there's a fucking murderer in a mask beside him. But one of the things he says I wrote down is like, I'm always like, guys, you know, let's do DMT together. And they're like, I'm a recovering addict. Or they're like, they're always like, fuck off and die, Link. But just telling somebody to fuck off and die is just such a great insult. It's like eat shit and die or fuck off and die are just great insults.
Which you can definitely imagine it with this kind of character because again, he's just so insistent that everybody do drugs all the time, and then he's also the one that questioned the reality of that guy's son dying in the beginning. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah, he's just chiming in shit about like he's almost like if they're the Lumineers, he's kind of maybe like a Joe Rogan-y type, you know, maybe or
at least
something.
a Joe Rogan fan is what he is.
Joe Rogan fan. Like he's not a meathead, but he's definitely like this. You know, what is reality? And he's talking about how, you know, our bodies naturally create DMT, so it's like it's natural. We should be all doing it. And he even says something like it's like sucking your own dick or something. This is great for such a stupid, great analogy.
But yeah, this is where we get probably one of the more Troma-esque kills in that the killer shoves his head right through the bong and the bong comes out the other end, and then the killer obviously takes a smoke out of it. Like, he pulls a rip off the bong. So
yeah, that's that. I could see that in a Troma or a full moon feature, you know, type of situation. Even it was great.
Yeah, definitely good. The next skit you get is so there's another character and he is a quote feminist. But
love that guy.
He's super obnoxious, and you can tell he's just trying to have sex with all the women in the support group.
Yeah, he's like a full-on fucking predator, but he's masked as this like ultra feminist, and he even says something. I didn't even write it down, but it was something that I remembered. It was like, I don't think until there's a female president, I don't think men should be allowed to orgasm.
It was men shouldn't be allowed to penetrate.
Oh yeah, men shouldn't be allowed to penetrate vaginas until there's a female president. Like he just says shit like that all the time because he's just trying to he's just trying to hook up with women in the sport group.
Right. Yeah. He's just trying to hook up, but like everything he does is still just standard guy, but prefaced with I'm a feminist. Right. Just standard shithead dude. And then this is like you get a lot of this in this scene where they go to the art showing that he's invited.
Oh, the art show.
Yeah. Which I love how he explains the art show. He's like, so there's an art show tonight by a feminist and she's a woman. Like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we kind of expect that, but then they go through the art show, and this is where you get kind of two different levels of satire that are going to make people mad. One is all of the paintings and sculptures are just like shitty things of vaginas, and it's just women standing around them going, "This is so empowering. This is empowering. Yeah. This is empowering."
Yeah.
And then they pull out to the bigger group of going around the room, and there's just men talking at the women and not letting them speak over. Like they're not letting them speak at all.
Yeah.
And they're just telling the women what all the art means.
Yeah. And then to even add insult to injury, like the artist, she is not really into the whole scene. She's like, I just want to draw snatches, or what is she? She's just like, I just want to draw snatch. And then everybody was like, all you do is draw snatch. And she's like, yeah, you should sell those. And then I was like, oh, sick. And and then there's like, it's just.
And she says something to the effect of like, and I was like, I started making money off it, and it was a lot easier than fucking giving tug jobs at wherever.
Yeah, because she's a stripper. Yeah, so that's the other thing is she's a stripper at like some presumably shitty strip club that she's just like jerking dudes off at, and then at some point she just decides she's going to start stripping, and then everyone is like, "Oh, this is so empowering," and it's just going around the room.
It's burlesque.
And she's like, "No, it's stripping.
Now I'm stripping." It's just funny because it's just I have to give the film credit. Like a lot of the times, like a lot of these indie films we watch, they have like bad sound, but this one has pretty good sound, especially in the mix. Agree. Like during the performance at the club where it's the Lumineers ripoff band, and the one guy is playing the jug. Like they mix the jug in so you can hear the jug properly.
It is. Yeah. The sounds mixed well. The overall, it's shot well. They definitely got creative with a lot of the shots, like this one, and then they do this like wacky 2-3-way meta POV thing later. That like kind of doesn't work, but it was a fun idea.
Yeah.
There's some kind of bad lighting in areas, but overall, it's like a pretty creatively shot movie. Like they were trying to do a lot of things on just obviously a zero budget.
Right. Yeah. That's another thing you have to definitely appreciate is like the way they tried to be creative where they didn't have budget to be creative. Like they couldn't do really, really great gore effects. They couldn't do, like a big lit space or anything like that. But they do these cool camera tricks. And one of them is, like we're saying in this art gallery, they just start spinning the camera. And like as the camera spins, and this also feels very improv influenced because it's like as the camera spins, it lands on a new skit. Each time it kind of stops and starts up again. But the camera is spinning, and then you have the stripper stripping, and you have like people just getting,
and she's doing like wild shit. She's like bouncing her boobs with her pecs,
and like her manager is saying stuff like, "Oh, it's just great that she's owning her femininity." And then as soon as she's finishing that, you can hear her yell in the background, "I'm a dirty slut."
Yeah.
And her manager's like, "Oh, fuck,
yeah,
dang."
Yeah, they keep you could tell they're all very uncomfortable and they're trying to say things to make themselves feel better. Like the cognitive dissonance is kicking in and they're trying to say things to make themselves feel better. And then she keeps shooting down whatever they say. Like she's using her body for empowerment. And she's like, I'm a dirty whore. Something like, fuck.
Like, never mind. So yeah, it continues and like the camera's spinning and it's just like the audience is leaving. There is one pervert in the
he's just sitting in the background like licking his lips and dancing,
which also I liked before. There was like apparently a scratch and sniff like snatch painting and he was just like waving it under his nose really quickly, just trying to gather up as much as possible. But the killer shows up and everybody else is gone because they got tired of her stripping. So it's just her and the pervert, and the killer just decides, he puts his chainsaw down, grabs a knife and kills the guy. And then she, the punchline is she's left by herself and she's getting ready to take her bottoms off and she's like, "Oh, does anybody want to see my snatch?"
Yeah, like she just noticed everyone left and she's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Nobody wants to.
She's been doing this whole striptease thing for like, I mean, this scene goes on for like probably 2.5 minutes at least.
There's 360 rotations where nothing changes. It's just still the same 360 rotation.
Yeah, there's a couple times. Like I said, I thought it was really clever and creative, and like I said, most of it lands, but like it's probably about twice as long as it needs to be.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines was there was a guy like got a boner from her dancing and his girlfriends were disgusted. And he says, "I'm hard because she's owning her sexuality, not her big titties."
Yeah, that's like that sums up the entire scene. That's pretty much what most of the whole thing is about.
Yeah, but there is a nice edit between like her saying, "Do you want to see my snatch?" and then it cuts to the girls, and they're like screaming, "No!" It's because they're like getting wine drunk at the this restaurant.
Yeah, they're at some bar. Yeah, it goes right into that one. But this is a funny scene too.
Yeah, this
mostly the song.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
So it's Viv and Bex, and then two of their friends, and they're all getting wine drunk in a bar. And the owner comes out from the back, and she's a black woman, which is important because they're racist.
Yeah.
So they're pretty rude and pretty codedly racist to her, and threatening to like review bomb her fucking restaurant if they don't let her, if she doesn't let them sit there and get fucking blackout drunk on wine.
Yeah, because it's like a BYOB place too, so it's not like they're even buying booze from her.
Yeah,
like they specify that, and then she's like, "We're closed. You guys got to go." And they start threatening to a Yelp bomber or whatever, and they're just like absolute assholes to her. And then she's like, "All right, I guess fuck off, whatever," and then she goes back to the back or whatever.
Yeah, she's like, "I guess I'll find something to do in the back or whatever." And this is where one of the girls says, "Let's turn it up," and they start playing this song. And the song is a made up song, but the lyrics, the main hook of the song is, "I'm black and I'm fierce," and all four of the girls are white.
Yeah, extraordinarily white, and they're just hammer drunk, doing that like hammer drunk white girl sway dance, this like rap song. But the chorus is, "I'm fierce and I'm black,"
and they're all singing it, and they all love it.
Yeah.
And the owner comes back out to it and is just like thoroughly upset and disappointed. But this is one of the best parts of the film, I think, simply because the killer comes in and just lays a bottle across Beck's head. And it is so hard. He hits her so hard.
And then there's a in the after the credits or during the credits, they actually did that take like 3 or 4 times too,
multiple times.
Like they have like a breakaway glass, it looks like a pitcher or something, but he just cranks her in the head with it. It's a well acted little effect.
Yeah, it's well done, and he just fucking lets her have it, and then stabs the rest of them with the empty bottle. Yeah.
And then the phone call.
Phone call's great.
Yeah, it just ends with like the killer's in the background stabbing Viv, I think, with a bottle, like a wine cork. And Bex is on the phone with her dad. And she's like, Daddy, somebody's trying to kill me.
And he's like, how much do you need? 2,000, 4,000, 6,000? Yeah.
He's like, 6,000? Maybe. And then cut to black. She's killed. And then he's like, well, let's just make it 8,000.
The headline after this was great. Did you notice what the headline in the theater?
The headline is so brilliant, and it just because the owner discovers all the bodies, and it's just a freeze frame of her face on like the New York Post or whatever, and it says 4 angels sent to heaven by brutal thug. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
So the idea is like, she was the owner.
She's the thug.
This black woman, and she showed up, and now she's guilty. Just
it had to be her.
And they're the biggest piece of shit like assholes in the world, and it's 4 angels sent to heaven by by brutal thug. It's I mean, obviously it's great satire, but it's also just like it's 100% played for laughs. There's not anything serious about it, but obviously the joke is
the joke is that would happen, and that's the Post
the joke
would put
is that. Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So where are we at?
This is the women's self-defense class coming up.
Yeah, they go back to grief counseling for a second, and then he sends them all to karate class.
That's right. I knew it wasn't time for Spoonathon yet. It was time for
not yet.
It's time for the self-defense class. So the Pat, after news of Viv and Beck's demise reaches the support group, Pat says, I've got a self-defense class for all the women, and he sends Madison and Cher to self-defense, and it's a bunch of women standing there, and it's Lloyd Kaufman as KM Schwartz, the self-defense sensei.
Yeah, he's the sensei. Yeah. One other thing I thought was funny at the beginning, it was something about the way he words it. He's like, obviously in the he's basically saying like those other girls got murdered, so he's like, I've signed you all up for a woman's self-defense class, and I think all you ladies should take it, or something about the way he says it is like he acts like it's this like empowered women thing, but then he's basically saying like all you ladies. He first of all calls them all of you ladies or something, and then he's like, insists that they have to take it. I didn't write the line down, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was mildly tone deaf. It wasn't like full on
like everything else.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Lloyd Kaufman shows up as the sensei, and his only teaching is punch them in the dick.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea is like basically they're fleecing all these women by saying like, one, you all paid to show up here, and we're gonna act like, he was like, you guys are gonna be able to defend yourself against any man after this, and then it's, here's the secret, punch them in the dick.
It hurts real bad.
Yeah. And
then what if a woman attacks us?
Well, then he acts like that he never been asked that question before, like it's insane, and then he goes,
punch him in the what do you say, twat? Snatch?
Yeah, punch him in the twat. I think that hurts too.
Yeah,
like,
he says that probably hurts. And then like one girl in the background's like, yeah, it does.
And then he's like, no refunds. And just like walks out.
God.
And then it's back to Pat, and he's like, I'll never trust I'll never trust a flyer on a coffee house board again. But now it's time for Spoonathon. And Spoonathon is meant to be like this totally platonic, like there was reports of these things like being cuddle parties back in the day. I don't know how much they happen that often, but it's basically just making fun of that, and it's just supposed to be where people can platonically spoon and connect that way. And part of Pat's character is that he doesn't have a dick, so like this is kind of the only way he can feel any kind of acceptance and just like intimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I even had it written down that somewhere earlier in this movie, he said he doesn't mind not having a dick because penises can't hug.
Yeah, that's true. He doesn't.
That's a t-shirt right there.
You know?
Yeah, he actually gets sidelined on his way to Spoonathon, though, because Cher, who has professed her love for him multiple times and has gone as far to say that she will murder for him.
Yeah, she's a great character we haven't mentioned yet. She's like the like outwardly psychotic one in the group.
Yeah. Her story in the grief support was that this murderer who has been following her throughout her entire life and killing all these people that she's really grown to hate.
Yeah. Just specifically on Christmas.
Yeah.
But it's clearly
right.
her. She's clearly killing everybody.
Yeah. A murderer came to her house, killed her family and her sister, who got more presents than her. And then the murderer showed up again at the orphanage and killed everybody there. And then she goes on to say, like, she'll kill for Pat. And then she describes it within the terms of Christmas of, like, she'll choke them with garland or put their body up as an ornament on a tree. And it's like, hey.
This was right before this, but never mind. This is it's a different scene before this, not to interrupt, but it was one of my favorite scenes in the movie is before the Spoonathon thing. I think it was it's one of their last it's the first time or the second time that the roommate comes in and is pissed at them that they're in the bathtub talking. And she comes in and she's like, why the fuck are you guys in the bathtub? And they immediately just listen to her and then just start berating her. And the roommate quote is, "That was rude. I hope every member of your family dies."
Oh yeah. Forgot about that one.
Like, just to go from like they are just venting in the bathtub, just kind of like being a little bit like whiny and shitty. And the friend comes in and is like, I have to work a night shift. I have to get a shower, blah, blah. And they're like, that was so rude. I hope every member of your family dies. I hope they all die today. And just
it just like they're screaming and they're scream crying at her. And it's just, it's a total overreaction to what's going on.
And I know, and since we're getting ready for the Cuddle Fest, they said this about where the Cuddle Fest is being held and where the art gallery was. The art gallery used to be a church. Now it's an art gallery.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And the Cuddle Fest thing used to be a rec center until they cleaned up the city.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's
so it's all this, like gentrification type of thing. Like this used to have an actual use to it. Now it's just hipsters jerking each other off.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all like coded racism and gentrification. Like until they cleaned it up. This used to be a Dominican church but now this is a space where everybody can come.
Now us white folk can come here and just meditate and hang out. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of gentrification in that. Yeah. But yeah, it's time for Cuddle-thon. But like I said, Cher takes Pat away. After professing her love in like no uncertain terms, he finally gets it, and they are off, and they're oh boy, is this boy. This is one of the more graphic sex scenes that we've done that doesn't actually involve penetration.
No, and there's really not even any nudity necessarily, besides maybe a butt or two and a fake mangled dick.
I think you see the bottom of Pat's cheeks, and that's about it.
But she does have a good line, which we do not see her boobs, but what's her name? The one who the murderer
Cher
takes him away. Cher's like, now I have something to show you, my rad ass titties. That's a great quote.
Isn't that after she sits on his face or before?
I think it's right before.
Yeah.
I think it's right before, but
this is when Jen decided to come in and try and watch some of this movie with me, and she was done.
She came in at the perfect
time.
Oh, but boy, oh god! Right when he came out from that face set,
it's dripping. Oh. His beard is like sopping wet.
Yeah. So we kind of forgot to mention, but like Madison actually leaves the cuddle party early because she finds a Sackface mask in his backpack.
Important. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so that sends her off into the night. But Pat explains it to Cher that he keeps it with him as a reminder and as a way to give himself power, because he freaks out at the mask and he's like, you don't have power over me. You can't hurt me anymore.
Yeah, you could tell he was a pretty much a red herring type situation, like from the beginning. I mean, it was not, they weren't trying to hide it necessarily.
No, I mean, you know, if you just listen to everybody's story at the beginning, like they're all suspects, and that's by design. Like everybody's a suspect because they all have like some traumatic past. You know, with the exception of Link, who might just kill because he's spaced out. Who knows?
Yeah,
but. Yeah, in the process of lovemaking, Cher puts the mask on to help him get over his fear, and winds up riding him reverse cowgirl on his face, wearing the Sackface mask.
It's a whole thing.
And there's close-ups of like the googly eyes that are like they're falling like down her cheeks, and oh man, it's just great. It's just great.
Yeah, but as you said, Pat comes up with, you know, just his face dripping, just covered in, I don't even know what they used. I don't think it was straight water, because it looked like there was some color to it.
Yeah, there was like a slightly opaque nature to it.
Yeah, it was opaque and viscous in a way. So
it was definitely viscous. Yes.
Yeah, I would call it maybe perhaps a watered down oat milk.
Yeah. Makes sense. They're in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Easy access to oat milk.
But now that he's satisfied her, it's his time. And, you know, this is where we get the money shot of what does his mangled dick look like.
Well, but first he says,
graphic.
First, he's trying not to do it because it's kind of weird for him. He says, seeing you happy makes my heart come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's basically trying to talk her out of it, and he even
he doesn't want to deal with it,
and he even says like it's going to be shocking to you kind of thing.
Yeah, he's nervous.
Yeah.
So you're really questioning whether you're going to actually see it, because like I said, there has been some nudity up to this point, but nothing full frontal. There's just been, you know, boobs and a couple butts or something like that. And then, and then the reveal of the mangled dick is
my God.
It may be worse. And it's a joke, but it's something about it is disturbing.
So this is where it's definitely a Troma movie. And I want to ask somebody at some point, was this a reshoot or an added shoot? Because, like you're saying, it's so graphic, it's so in your face because it covers the entire frame.
Yeah,
and I think part of it covering the entire frame is that it was shot at a different time at a different location, because the lighting's different too. Like the lighting in the room, there's like a red light coming from the side that kind of illuminates them.
I could see that. I could see it being shot in a completely different setting. Because it keeps zooming in on it, and there's never like I think also, again, this being a really low budget movie, and like me not being a practical effects expert at all, but like the way it's shot, there would have had to have been some pretty heavy duty prosthetics to have that on the actor with any type of wider frame.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe they just needed to zoom in on it that much to make it seem like it was part of him.
Yeah. So like basically like you never see a full body of Pat with this on. So like, and I think that's kind of what leads me to believe maybe it was a reshoot, and maybe even it was part of getting distributed with Troma, that they gave them a little extra money to add this in, because it seems so Troma.
You imagine?
That's a good point, because there's not a lot of other like Troma gross out humor until this point, and then it hits really hard.
This thing looks infected. Yeah. Like it is.
It is like
it's got tubes.
It looks like it was never treated.
No,
you know what I mean? It looks like someone got their dick hacked off, and
it's raw.
This is what it reminded me of. It's like if you boil a brat for a long time and the casing like ruptures, and then all the inside like kind of prolapses out, if you will.
And at the same time, there's chicken veins kind of going through the plot, and you just break those off too, because fuck it, why not?
It is graphic.
See, I saw a pink tree stump in a bunch of moss. So,
well, there is like a lot of hair and stuff, but there's also like a lot of scarring, and it's like kind of almost like ballooned out in a weird way.
It definitely has like this exploded hot dog as you explained it.
Exploded on. He's got a real ripper, if you will.
But the way he gets the climax, though, is that he gets told that he's a nice guy.
Yeah. You're so fucking nice. You're the nicest fucking guy I've ever seen. And he's like getting all getting off
through
on
emotional validation. That's how he gets his. But then there's a close up of just like it leaking fucking cum.
Leaking is the right word. Here's what it looks like. It looks like it was like infected and then just like a boil popped or something, because it just looks like pus. It doesn't even look like cum. It looks like this pus just is like oozing out of like multiple spots where it's like erupts. It doesn't. I wouldn't even say it looks like ejaculation as much as something ruptured.
Right. It's definitely in the line of a
like a tumor. A tumor.
It's definitely in the line of a Dr. Pimple Popper video.
Yes, it does. It looks like a YouTube freaking pimple popper video more than it looks like someone coming. It's fucking so gross. And the contrast to the rest of the movie is what makes it so effective. You're just like, oh my fucking God.
Because at this point, nothing has been this terrible.
No, not even close. Not even close.
During this scene, though, like you're also getting flashes of the killer in the cuddle party, and he's killing. Like he's killing people in the background. You have the fake feminist, and he's like telling this woman at the cuddle party that like how awesome she is, how cool she is, and then like he's also pulling his dick out.
I'm just gonna hot dog your butt cheeks. Just relax.
But he's explaining that he's not pulling his dick out, but then that he has pulled his dick out, and like he just keeps saying things he's not going to do, but then that he has done them, but it's not.
It's already happening.
It's already happening, and it's a good thing. And he's just like I say, he's kind of like gaslighting her, but she's just like rolling her eyes, but is also like, this guy's a fucking creep. And
it's definitely like it's something that she's come to expect from the kind of men who go to these things.
That's a good way of putting it.
Of being, it's just another predator, fake feminist type of guy. But like, he's like, I've already pulled my dick out, and I just wanted to save you like the emotional baggage of not having to tell me no. So
it's just all this like rationalization that he's doing.
And this is where we get the line about like, I don't think any men should penetrate a vagina until a woman is president, but then follows it up basically with I'm sorry I shot a load down your butt crack.
Oh god, it's so ridiculous.
You get one of the killers is killing in the background, and then also obviously kills this guy, and then it kills the woman as well.
Everybody.
But at the same time, you get the reveal that there's another killer, because there's a killer in the room with Pat and Cher, and he comes up behind Pat and cuts his balls off from behind.
Oh, I didn't even pick that up.
Yeah. With like, isn't it like scissors?
It's like garden shears
or something?
Garden shears.
And he cuts his balls and he's like, my testicles.
And then stabs him in his good eye.
It goes.
I know.
It just goes so Troma all of a sudden.
Pat
stabs him in his good eye, and then that sets off Cher, and you actually get a pretty decent fight scene between the two of them.
That's what I said. She held her own pretty well with him,
and it turns even into,
because she's murdered too. She can do this.
You don't deny the character that has murdered, and like she winds up biting his fingers off, and you get like this funny Looney Tunes framing of you see them behind the bed, and you're looking over the top of the bed, and they're like popping up from behind the bed in different situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just
like they might as well have been wrestling in a cloud of dust, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling heads back in. Get back. Trying to escape.
Yeah. Yeah. So more Looney Tunes gags after traumatic penis injury. So yeah, you get it revealed that there's two killers. They chase Madison in what Brian was talking about before. They try a kind of POV at the same time. And this feels like a planned kind of sketch shooty thing of like, we're going to try to do this one shot. And you have the POV of the two killers as they chase Madison through like just, I don't know, like a shitty warehouse or a thrift shop or something.
Yeah, it's like she's out on the street and it's Madison's POV and she sees them both coming down like opposite sides of the sidewalk. So she goes into this, some sort of warehouse, workshop, you know, whatever. But then there's the through the mask POV, but each eye is like the different killer's POV.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like the POV is cut in kind of like a triangle, so they're trying to make you think it's like the way the killer would see through the mask, that it would marry together in your eyesight, but it kind of sort of winds up looking like two separate eyes. Yeah. So it doesn't play exactly as well, but you get a couple. And also like where they're shooting is like really poorly lit because it's,
well, that's the thing too. It becomes really hard to see. You see figures, but it becomes hard to see who they are or what they're doing.
Right. There's a couple of effective moments where like each killer is looking at Madison from a different perspective and you can see her move at the same time. Yeah. But then it breaks down at other times where like, and I think it's especially at the very end, there's some trick editing in there, but like Madison wasn't timed properly and she was doing a different action from like when she's standing over the one killer she downs and is pulling off their mask. She's moving at a different speed and like doing a different action than what you see in the other killer's eyes. So it doesn't, it's not completely effective, but like it's kind of a cool idea. Like it's
a good example of like it was like the spinning shot they did earlier. Like it was good, but it's just like they didn't pull it off 100%. Like maybe they let it go too long, and this instance like it wasn't synced up perfectly. But yeah, it was still.
And I'll be honest, like in my brain, this is the first time I realized there was more than one killer. I didn't pick it up down at the Cuddle Fest. So once I started seeing multiple eyes chasing her then I realized, oh fuck, there's more than one. Now I get it.
Well, and the big reveal was supposed to be when she's out on the street, but to Steve's point, it was so poorly lit that I actually had to rewind it like 30 seconds to go back and see like, oh, was that a mask? Because you could barely tell they had a mask on in the dark, like from the distance.
I wouldn't miss that.
Yeah, because I mean they're guerrilla shooting on the streets of Brooklyn or wherever, you know, in New York City.
Permits.
Right? Yeah, they're doing Frank Henenlotter shit. They can't get no permits for no 10,000 watt lights. Yeah, that's a dead giveaway. That's how you attract the cops, putting up a big damn giant light.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but it works well enough. But yeah, Madison, winds back up in her safe space in the tub, and her roommate, she's like complaining to her roommate, but then she realizes, oh, her roommate's dead.
Yeah,
been dead the whole time.
Dead. Yeah, a Sackface comes in, knocks her out, and she wakes up, and she's now in a support group of Sackfaces.
They all got the same exact mask on. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the big reveal. The big reveal is that all of these Sackfaces are the friends and family of the victims of the Pizza Boys that were all killed in the first Slashening movie.
I had so much fun with that. I really did. That was so
it was a good twist.
Yeah, I like
especially for me, like not having seen the first one. It actually, I think, might even play better not having seen the first one.
You're right.
Because you're like, oh, there's two killers. Oh, okay, yeah, it's some Scream shit. Oh no, there's a whole bunch of killers. It's a whole support group of killers that were all friends and family sent to their death by your asshole dad, Papa Sangatelli or whatever his freaking name is.
And they can't get to him because he's dead. So now they got to get to you. That's it.
Right. Yeah. And then it was just an opportunity. They also have like the explanation that like all the other people were just like whiny people who didn't have actual problems. Mm-hmm. So it was just best to kill them as well too.
Yeah. So the whole idea was like, it's kind of, this is the working class, coming up to say like, fuck you to the like privileged people who, we've heard enough about your problems, your privileged problems kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But,
the whole time though, Madison is taped to a chair and she is loosening the tape as everybody's telling their sob story about how their pizza guy fucking relative or whatever died.
He was working to open a bait shop. They were trying to put in an above ground pool.
Well, the thing is they're specifically trying to tell like super like white trash stories. Like he was saving up for an above ground pool. Yeah. Or like like the first guy was like working 3 jobs while he was learning how to code or something. Mm-hmm. And then the next guy wanted to put an above ground pool, and then the next guy said, I forget, there was something he was saving up for something, and there's
a woman that's mad because now 60% of her kids are fatherless.
He was the father.
2 guys died, and that made almost 60% of her kids fatherless.
It's all again lower class stories that you would expect.
It's like poverty problems. It went from like your rich people problems, and now the working class is gonna be at the forefront, and then they start talking about their problems, and they're all like stereotypical poor people problems.
Right. Things that also could have been solved with like, better choices. But Madison gets free, and she gets the claw from one of the Slashening Sackfaces,
which is intentionally comically just made of like
aluminum foil.
Aluminum foil and cardboard.
Right.
Like and it's not just a knife. They make it like it's almost like some medieval looking weapon,
like a Bruce Lee kind of like what Bruce Lee went against.
Like an Enter the Dragon claw.
I was gonna say it's like the Enter the Dragon claw, but if you were to make that when you were 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she gets the flash.
Do you see? As soon as we said Enter the Dragon, Steve chugged his soju.
I was just checking to see if it was empty. It was.
I didn't see that. There wasn't any left.
But she gets the flash in her mind, and it's Sensei Schwartz or Sensei Dyson, whatever his name was. And it's Lloyd Kaufman reminding her, punch him in the dick.
He says it in this like ghostly way too. Punch him in the dick.
And she does.
She
does.
Yeah.
One, they don't move. They don't do anything. She just walks around.
Yeah.
Again, in Bruce Lee fashion, she just takes them one by one. They don't.
No one moves. No one adjusts.
Yeah. No one adjusts.
No one attacks.
And I think that's also because like they only got a couple takes of her punching in the dick with the blood falling. So like anytime it cuts to the reverse shot of her punching in the dick, you can tell it doesn't match with the action that she just took. Because like sometimes she does like a bowling ball wind up to fucking punch him in the dick. But like all of the reverse shots is just like a straight, forward punch. Yeah. So yeah, they only got a couple of those shots, so they recycle that a bit. But it's just her punching the dick over and over and over until she gets to the last one. And like you even hear one of them though at some point go, "Ow, my dick," and then another one goes, "Ow, my twat."
I missed that part.
Yeah. There was one that says, "Ow, my twat."
And then her ultimate, like her culmination line, right, is like something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, but nobody wants to hear stories about poor people."
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, she does a little more dispatching with a machete and the chainsaw. But it ends with the guy from her original support group, Ben.
Yeah.
She's cradling him in her arms.
With the dead son.
Yeah. The guy with the dead son, who may or may not be dead depending on perception.
Yeah.
But he is, he's giving his final words of, like the stories of the working class will rise up. And that's when Madison says, yeah, nobody wants to hear stories about poor people, and then stabs him.
Yeah.
Such a fun movie. So fun.
The acoustic version of "I'm Fierce and I'm Black,"
at
the end is so
much
great.
better. Oh, I love it. You
So
can really
great.
hear it.
It's so
I'm
good.
sad it's a fake. I'm sad it's a fake song. I would have that.
Well, like I said, in the just few minutes of the first one that I watched, there is a within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie, there is two women in a car clearly singing about, like, doing like a really shitty, very similar quality parody of like a Taylor Swift song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm going to butcher it because I didn't write it down or anything, but it was something along the lines of like, we're broken up. What makes you think we're not broken up? I deleted him from my phone. I'm definitely not going to get back with him. Like, this whole thing, it just reminded me so much of that.
There's a couple other fake songs in this that like the lyrics are a little harder to hear, but they're there. But there's definitely a good amount of just doing jokes with songs. Like, you get jokes from every angle. You get physical comedy, you get satire, you get parody songs, you get prop comedy. What more can you ask for?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
This was
satisfied. So satisfied.
This is a great like weeknight watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was an hour and 20 hour. It's like under an hour and 30 minutes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Just like tight, funny, stupid. You could definitely like look at your phone for 5 minutes and come back and be totally fine.
Totally fine.
Yeah, this is a great weeknight watch.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
Quit gaslighting us, you asshole.
What? I did the good thing for you.
What's going to happen if he wins 3 times in a row?
I might still do a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I bet he
We'll
will.
see.
See what's around.
Speaking of if Steve's going to win the next time around, let me remind yins out there, go check on the social medias. If you're listening to this on Monday when it comes out, it might be a couple of days. Usually we post it out there like midweek, like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday type situation. But go in there and vote. Let us know which of the 3 potential topics for the Showdown episode for next month you might want to hear us talk about. As a reminder, maybe you can noodle around the old brain on what you're gonna vote for, or if you have specific movies that you want to suggest that we check out that might be a good pick for whatever topic wins, send them our way on the social medias as well. Again, they're found footage, neo monster flicks, and redneck shenanigans, which, if I had to guess, I feel like that might be the leader in the clubhouse.
Yeah, vote for redneck shenanigans.
That might be the leader in the clubhouse. I don't know. People like found footage. Although it's a little
A
polarizing.
lot of people do like found footage. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see who
Pick that if you don't want Steve to three-peat.
Boo.
Because he is going to try to get cute with it, and it ain't going to work.
Also, I only have like a repertoire of like 4 films that I like in the found footage. 2 of them are Hell House movies, I think.
Speaking of the Hell House franchise, Jesus, that goes batshit, doesn't it? That's a fun franchise. Yeah. Anyway, guys, as always, go follow us on the social medias if you want to get in on all this nonsense. It's basically at Halloween's Forever on whatever the fuck social media that you utilize. Like I said, mostly we're on the TikToks and the Twitters, though. All right. Anything else?
I want to just say one last thing, kind of about Brandon Bassham and what's next for him. They are in the process of making a new movie called Bring on the Damned, and it is meant to be a collection of 5 short scary stories, but they're also going to be musicals.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That sounds fun.
Also, once again, produced and starring Lloyd Kaufman. So,
well, can't go wrong with Uncle Lloyd. Interesting that this ended up feeling very Troma-esque, although it's like doesn't necessarily have all the hallmarks of a Troma movie. But yeah, I guess if Uncle Lloyd's going to show up, it's gonna have Troma written all over it. So
yeah.
A lot of fun. Check it out on the Tubies while you're there. Watch everything else on Tubi. You won't be literally Tubi. Even when it hands you just a handful of shit, just a big messy mangled dick of a movie, you're gonna be better off for it.
And you know what? Then just leave it on and let it pick the next movie for you every time.
Tubi giveth and Tubi taketh away. We have said this once. We've said this once. We've said it 1,000 times. Tubi, do not question it. Tubi works in mysterious ways.
It always knows what's best for you. Always.
Even if you don't think you like it.
Even if you don't think you like it, you're wrong.
If you don't think you like it, there's a good possibility it's giving you a punishment film.
Yeah, because you deserve it.
For your insolent friends.
What do like Jesus people say? They say like God that won't give you more than you can handle or something. That's what Tubi does as well. It does the same things. It's the once and future savior.
And it's real.
All right. And it's real, which makes it
way better.
With my personal Lord and Savior. All right, guys, that was a lot of fun. Join us next week for another motherfucking minisode. Once again, thank you, Mr. Bigfoot Benjamin, for joining us on the podcast. Always fun to have you.
That was so much fun. I'd love to come back anytime. Meg will be here, I'm sure, next time. She's done drinking blood. She's done eating babies. Yeah,
maybe not. She might be in a Bulgarian prison right now, and for the next 10 years.
Is she in Iceland right now?
She might be in Iceland right now. That bitch.
Are you saying Meg got taken for?
Meg may or may not have gotten taken for. All right. Come back next episode to see if Megan got out of a Chechnyan prison. For the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Ben.
I'm two-time champ Steve. Also,
See
Suju
you
champ.
later. Shut up. Bye.
Bye.